So, my name is George. I'm not sure what you guys know about me. It's really not important, except for the fact that what I'm about to share with you will change your lives forever. Literally, will change your lives forever. Okay? I'm going to. So here's the rules of the next hour. If you have a question, you ask it, okay? It doesn't help me if you don't express what doesn't make sense, or if you disagree, you need to make yourself heard, okay? I'm not gonna chastise you or make you look bad, maybe, okay? That's the first rule. Second rule is, I put this stuff on paper, but a lot of this stuff is going to just come off the top of my head. So I don't know if somebody's taking notes, if you guys are going to look back, or however you learn best, do that. You don't have to take notes. If that's not how you do it, that's fine, okay? I also want to make this as interactive as possible. So if you think there's a better way of explaining what I'm about to explain, or a way that you understand it, please share it, okay? Here's the thing that's, I don't know how familiar you are with what y'all are with we. So here's the thing. In our debates, historically the debates were not debates. Okay, they were not. They were one candidate or several candidates that were asked a question from the community, and then they had a couple minutes to speak. It was just talking points. It was whatever their party platform was. Okay? I don't know about y'all, but that's not a debate to me. So, I don't know, maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago, something happened, and me and a friend of mine, Billy, proposed an alternative debate format, okay? And we actually had to sell the we members on this format. And what it was, hey, we think this is better, we think this is more helpful for the community, we think it's more engaging, and we think it actually helps the students become better thinkers and speakers, and then it helps the community get more out of the candidates. Okay? So that being said, this is a little bit of the theory, a little bit of the thought process here. You can pass it around. Okay? Behind it. So how many of y'all have seen, maybe last year or the year before, were you guys exposed to it? Who was exposed? Who saw it? Who saw what's happening? Okay, so you've seen it, you guys haven't. Okay, imagine, okay, so I've actually had a lot of trouble with this, and I want you guys to think about this for a second. I don't know how to name what y'all do. In my mind, you're an interrogator, okay? But that probably sounds too mean or too strong. But really, or a moderator, but I don't know, moderator sounds too nice. So you're between a moderator and an interrogator, okay? Any questions so far? Any thoughts? Questions? All right, so here's what I hope that you will learn, or at least see in these next few minutes, okay? Is how do you become an awesome interrogator, or an awesome moderator, or whatever, interromoderator, whatever, the middle ground, okay? How do you do that? So really what it comes down to is how you ask good questions. All right? Following me so far? All right. So the way I look at it is go to the second page, okay? There's a very important man. His name was, I think it was either Aristotle or Plato or Socrates, one of the big three, one of these legends, okay, that came up with this thing called the stasis theory, all right? And what it is it's this idea, I think it comes from some Roman term, yeah, here it is. In ancient Rome, if legal disputants could not agree with the presented information in one of the stases, the argument would stop or arrest, and the plaintiffs would attempt to agree before going forward. So imagine this, a stasis is a meeting point. Here's a spot. This is where we're at. If we can't agree, we don't move forward. Stasis theory is how do we move from A to B to C to D, all right? Put it this way. Here's your circles. Y'all like circles? We're going to use some more. 4. This is how you get, I'm giving y'all the quick and dirty, okay? And then we'll put it into action here, okay? A politician, let's just go. We'll go with politics. Or, yeah, why not? You want to pick somebody? Pick a scenario, pick an event, a recent event. It doesn't even have to be politics. Give me an issue that's happened in one of y'all's lives recently, or like with a professor or a teacher or something. Give me some material.
Or like disagreed or something? Or?
Yeah. Give me where a disagreement happened. With your parents? Yeah.
Okay, I asked the teacher to put a grade in for me, and he waited like 4 weeks to do it. No,
You throw him under the bus?
no, but like he gave me a 0.
Okay. Oh,
And
did
then
you
I
really?
asked him like a lot of times to change it, and he didn't for a very long.
Okay, so that's a mechanical issue. Let's go to something a little bit different of something that you had a debate on or that you had an issue with. Okay, you had a thought?
Some kid got caught doing something, and my coach, rather than asking questions, just said, "Okay, you're off the team, go away, and don't talk to me." But he didn't clear it up, and the guy didn't even get in trouble. Like, he didn't do it, so.
Okay, good scenario. All right, so there was an issue, something happened, some event happened with the student. Okay, give me a name, some name. Brett. Okay, Brett did something.
Is this his real name?
I don't know. Who knows?
So
It's a Brian, okay? It's Brian. Brian did something, okay? So put yourself in the coach's spot, all right? How do you uncover what happened? Okay, walk me through. Somebody, you be Brian, all right? You're Brian. You're the coach. Walk me through what you would have done to get to the heart of the matter, to figure out what happened.
I would have investigated a little more, like maybe ask him questions like,
Good,
what
okay.
did you do?
Give me the first question.
Like, what did you do?
Okay, so what happened? What did you do?
What did you do?
Yeah, what did you do, Brian?
I went to a party and had fun with my friends.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then where do you go from here?
You go, okay, did you do the thing that they accused you of doing?
Okay, so all right, so here we go. Perfect. This is exactly what happens. No, this is perfect. Okay. So the first question you asked, I would consider a neutral. It's a neutral question. There's neither good nor bad, neither here nor there. You're just trying to uncover facts. You're trying to uncover information. What happened? What did you do? Okay, so then you can take it however you wish, right? The second question you ask is what I call a leading question. So you did hit that guy, didn't you? Or they said you did this, did you? So now you've already, another way of putting it is you've primed it, you've framed it. You're leading with, so now the burden, okay, so when you ask him something like that, what's the burden on him to do? The burden,
Disagree.
no, the burden is not on you to disagree or agree. The burden on you is to show why you are innocent. Does that make, do you see that? So when I say, so I heard that you hit this girl, let's just say, that they accused, some girl said that you assaulted her.
So now he has to.
So the burden's on him.
That he's innocent. He has to prove his point, but like.
So the burden, so imagine it was like, burden to me, the image is like the wheelbarrow. Like he's carrying the weight now. The weight's on him to show why he's innocent.
So would I have to push it back?
To convince.
So exactly. So
because you can't really push it back on something that you like. If they haven't done anything that you know of, you can't push it back. But you would just have to defend your case. You can't offend anyone.
Right. So you're not then pushing it back to the coach and saying, no, you did it. Prove to me why you didn't assault the girl. Right. That's not. I think that's maybe a way to look at it. No. The other thing is in our legal system, what's the presumption?
You're
Innocent
until proven guilty.
Okay, so now the question is framed where you're guilty, prove your innocence. Do you see that? So that's what a leading question does. That is a plague. Okay, that's a bad question. So that's good. That's a good thing. So I don't know, maybe somebody keep a short list of all the don'ts, the 10 not commandments or whatever. Okay? Bad thing to do, a bad question is a leading question. Okay? And you'll be Here's another way, like you, the assault is one, your parents. Can anybody think of an instance where your parents ask you leading questions?
Did you do your homework?
No, that's a neutral question.
Why didn't you do your homework?
Why didn't you do your homework? That's a leading question. Because what's the presumption in that question?
That you didn't do your
You
homework.
didn't do it. So you see that? So the first question is, what happened or what did you do? That's a neutral question. Another neutral question is, did you do your homework? The leading question is, why didn't you do your homework? You see that? You see the difference here? That's a bad question. That's grounds for a really bad discussion or a really bad deliberation, because then you start playing the game of now you got to defend, and you guys can chase that rabbit trail, okay? So let's just say, let's take this scenario that the coach hears that you assaulted a girl, okay? So coach says, hey Brian, some girl came and accused you of assaulting her. Did you assault her? So that's a neutral question, right? Did you assault her, yes or no?
Is it? Or, because, I don't know, because if you say did you, then that would determine, that person who's answering the question would have to say yes or no, which is a troubling question.
No,
for
no,
that
no,
person if he doesn't
because
want to
if
get
you-
caught.
No, whether it's
Or if
troubling
you
to
did
you
do
or
it.
not, it's a neutral question. It gives you the opportunity to be innocent or guilty.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a neutral question in the sense that I'm not framing you. I'm not saying you did or you didn't do it.
He's just asking
Yeah.
if this event happened or not.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's a way, there's a direction you can take the question. So let me try to lead you to where I'm trying to go with this. What if the girl says, "Oh, he harassed me"? So I used two different terms there. Did you harass the girl or did you assault her? So where do you take that? Do you guys see where I'm trying to go with this? I know you do. You already saw the movie. He knows what happens.
It's
Okay,
like-
talk to me.
It's like when you ask someone in a joking manner, have you told your parents are gay? That's a leading question.
Okay, the leading question, yeah, but I'm saying we got past the leading question. That's a bad question. The second one is, where I'm trying to go with this is, somebody accuses you of something, okay? They've accused you of assault or they've accused you of harassment. Okay, so let's just take one moment here. What does harassment mean to you? What is grounds for harassment?
Anything that you're not comfortable with?
Okay, what is harassment to you?
Like when you hurt someone,
Physically,
Physically
emotionally,
or
like what are we
mentally?
talking about? So any way you hurt somebody, okay, what's harassment to you?
Persistent, unwanted bothering.
Okay, what's harassment to you?
When someone's done something to you and you've explicitly told them don't do that and they keep like it's
Okay,
repetitive.
and what's harassment to you?
The continuation of bad behavior, like emotional.
So if it happens one time, it's not harassment? Okay, what's harassment to you? There's not a right answer,
Yeah.
I'm just,
When you tell someone to stop doing something and they refuse to stop.
so if you didn't tell them, could it still be considered harassment? Okay, so
So
did
could
you
you say there are different levels of harassment, like extreme levels or emotional?
Well, everyone
you
can
could say
perceive
like
it differently.
Yeah.
yeah.
So harassment is a very broad term, very broad, which means different things to different people.
What's harassment to you? If she's accusing you of harassment, she perceived it as harassment, but maybe you didn't.
Maybe you didn't. Okay, so let's go a little bit deeper. Okay, coach says you harassed her, and you say, well, what did she say I did? What did I do that she thought I harassed her? Okay, so come up with what did the girl say that he did?
I don't know.
You don't know. What did the girl tell you? Somebody fill in that story.
You kept whistling at her.
You were whistling at her.
Catcalling.
You were catcalling at her.
Okay.
You were catcalling. Okay, so that's. Hey, that's good. No,
that's good.
Hey,
That's
it's true. It's true. So now we're going. Girl says you whistled at her. You catcalled her. You weren't just hoping and scoping, man. You were,
Okay.
whistling and missling. I don't know, whatever. Something that rhymes with whistling. Okay.
Now what?
Now what? Is that harassment?
It's up to everyone
No, it's not. For you, it's not harassment. You're gonna just tell it, well, you know what? I can see how she says it's harassment. Punish me. No, you're not gonna do
want to
that.
defend yourself.
Okay.
So you're gonna say,
But it
I was
wasn't.
whistling at someone else, maybe.
Okay.
So you were
Very It was a guy. It was
Suddenly, like, put it on
It was the
someone
dog
else.
that was running away. I was whistling at the dog.
Exactly.
The girl thought it was her. She's so narcissistic. She thought I was whistling at her. Man,
Different,
so conceited.
there are different roads you can take. on
God
that.
bless.
You could have turned, that guy could have turned gay all of a sudden. Like,
Something, you never know. Something
Could've
could
been
happen,
God.
right? But what happened? Basically, the question is what happened? There was a girl in this geographical area. You were near her, and whistling happened. That's as much as we know. Okay, maybe we uncover a little bit more. You start asking him more questions. Well, hey, were you looking at her? Were you following her? Were you taunting her? You know, you start trying to uncover more information, more evidence, more facts. Okay? So all of this is a way, okay, now let me ask you this. Let's just say that you did harass her. Okay? Let's just say that the coach, after looking at all the evidence, says, you know what, she's right. You did harass her. All right, so who wants to be the coach now? Okay, you're the coach. You find out he harassed her. What do you do about it?
Well, I don't know. I'd probably just say, get out of here.
Get out of
Like,
here.
would you
Get outta here.
do you kick him off the team?
Yeah.
Do you suspend him for a game? Do you bring the girl in and then have them both discuss? I mean, you know, what do you do from there?
I would probably bring the girl in and have them discuss, and then if it happened.
What if she thinks it's against her emotional safety, that she doesn't want to be around him
Bring them in
because?
separately.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, maybe gather facts from both of them.
From
But I
both
guess
of
that
them.
already happened.
Okay, let's just say that the facts are done. We're done fact uncovering.
Yeah.
And you've determined this is harassment. You have different options, right?
Yeah.
And then some of your options are what's policy in the school, what's legally bound, and then what you want to do on a personal level as a coach, right? Okay?
Yeah.
Now what if you find out, let's just say that he didn't harass her. He assaulted her in the sense that he hit her. He intentionally hit her. Let me ask you this, is your punishment the same or different than if he whistled at her?
Well, I feel like my punishment would be the same, but the law wouldn't.
The law
treat it
wouldn't
the same way.
appropriate. Would anybody else have a different opinion on it?
I feel like I
Don't
would,
say that, it's also playing. That's bad, I don't like when you feel like it. Okay, keep going.
My
Just say what your opinion is or what you think.
okay, if he had harassed her, I would still think of that as a very like serious thing to do, because obviously that's not right.
Mhm.
But if he had actually intentionally hit her and taken action like that, then he would, no doubt in my mind, be off the team.
Okay, so the first instance might be grounds for a certain type of punishment, but the second is a different kind of punishment, maybe elevated, a little bit harsher.
Yes.
Okay.
What if the kid happened to be an all-A student in, I'm
Yeah,
just
he was, like,
saying,
the
like,
best of the
what's like,
team.
best-
Star of the team, yeah. Let's go to Baylor.
Not even-
You know, the guys, you know, there was a whole scandal of them raping
Like,
women and stuff.
not
I mean,
even-
really, this is reality here,
like, not
okay?
even the best on the team, just like an overall all-good student that, like,
You're Ezekiel Elliott, man. You're the freaking awesome running back that's making millions of dollars. Some girl says you assaulted her. NFL goes and suspends you for 6 games. But they, you know, I mean, so now we're talking, now you're throwing a bunch of stuff into the mix. But that's situational.
yeah,
This is not facts. Okay,
okay.
the point I'm trying to illustrate, okay? Let's go to these magic 4 circles, okay? Starting from the inside out, we have fact, definition, quality, or let's just say an evaluation or judgment. And then the last one is a policy, okay? When the coach approached Brian I heard a girl came and accused you of assaulting her. We're somewhere here in one of these 4 circles. Take a guess. Where are we? Where are we starting off?
Fact. Because we.
No, it's not fact because it hasn't been proven yet. It's just somebody just told him. She just told the coach.
Mm-hmm.
Like you haven't even talked about it with
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, does
the
it?
accused person.
So the event
not
itself
fact yet.
happened, but when the claim, let's take the argument that she's making or the claim she's making. You assaulted her. Where are we?
I would say
Defin-
quality.
Yes.
Definition. Oh wait, judgment? Why?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, definition.
Why wouldn't it?
No,
be?
it's not definition. Sir, you're confusing me.
It's not.
You're confusing me. You said judgment and quality.
Yes.
Why?
Because, like here it says, what is the character of the act? She's accusing him.
So what it is this is almost like the conclusion. This is, the judgment is, she's already determined it's harassment. Does that make sense? Okay, then I went and I asked you, well, what's the difference, or define harassment for me. We moved down one step. We got deeper. If you want to think about it physically or temporally, we went deeper. Then we got to the point of, okay, well, now we all defined harassment. Okay, well, what actually happened at the event? Make sense? Then I went and I asked you, okay, well, if we determined it was harassment, is that a different kind of punishment than you would if it was an assault, a physical assault? Then we go back, we go up to policy, which is, the question is, what do you do about it? So think about it this way. These are all different ways to move in a discussion. To move deeper or to move more superficially. Okay? I saw you when you walked in. I asked you, how are you? What'd you tell me?
I'm doing good.
I'm doing good. Do you know that's the most common answer in the world?
Yeah.
And the
Yes.
most common question is, how are you? So we're all good, but we're in freaking war, people are in poverty, but everybody's good. Okay, and that's a side comment. Where are we? When you answer me, I'm good, what part of the circle are we in?
I'd say fact.
No, you can give me any facts.
No,
I didn't ask you what does
you're
good
at
mean.
Quality and judgment.
You're at
Because-
quality and judgment.
You
You've
have to
already
def-
made a judgment on your day. You've
Yeah.
already assessed your day for
Oh,
me.
okay.
And then you have to define what good means. To
Yeah,
him.
so how do you do that? Let's say you ask me, hey George, how was your day? I tell you I'm good. How do you move from there to there?
How good was your day? What do you mean?
What happened?
Why was it good?
Like what? Why was it good?
Why was it good?
Okay.
Why was it good? Or another way, or deeper level is, what happened? That's what you asked. What happened? Because if you ask me what happens, it's a neutral question. I could have told you I lost my cat, I lost my dog, I went and I passed my test, and so I just gave you, in qualitative terms, good and bad, right? But you asked almost what's called a leading question, where you said, well, how was it good? So I'm only going to give you the good when you ask me that, right? It doesn't make sense if you ask me why was your day good? Oh, my cat died. Well, maybe that's good. Who knows? Does it make sense? Okay. What happened? What do we define it as? How do we judge it? And what do we do about it? At the end of the day, you're going to make some sort of an action. That's here. But all our actions are dependent upon these inner circles. And a lot of the stuff we do is shortcutted. In our day, take a guess. Where do you think you operate, or most people operate throughout the day? Where?
Evaluation.
Yeah, quality, judgment. Why? Hey, how are you? Good. Well, how is the food? Good. What do you think of this teacher? What were we talking about? Okay, hold on. We were just talking about Miss Capaldi, right?
Right.
What happened? Right when I made a comment about Miss Capaldi, what was said? He chimed in, and what did he say?
He agreed, didn't he?
No, I said I had Miss Capaldi as a teacher, and then she said that she just changed to Miss Capaldi. Then he said, oh, you won, basically.
Yeah.
You got the better end of the deal. So where is he operating now? Where did Mr. Berglund just go? Straight for what? judgment. He immediately made a judgment and said, it is good. It is good that you got Miss Capaldi. Then what happened? You try to defend why Miss Bassett is good too. But then he went and said, no. Let's talk about Miss Capaldi. Why is Miss Capaldi good? So then where did we go in the circle?
Fact.
What did you do when she was your teacher? What did she make you do?
Why wouldn't that be classified as a definition?
He didn't ask, I didn't ask him, and none of you guys asked him, well, what made Miss Capaldi good? Or what makes a good teacher? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, we didn't ask about the judgment, we asked about the facts that led to the judgment. Okay? So another way of thinking about this, and this is just another way, is lawyers. Really, another way to think about it is this. Let's just say, most lawyers, a scenario, guy ran a red light, hit a person on the crosswalk. Okay? I just gave you facts. Then we go and we say, okay, well, one person died or whatever, and here's the scenario, okay? Then we start moving up into definition. When it gets into legal matters, you start going, well, is this harassment? Is this a manslaughter? Is this a DUI? Is this, and then there's a bunch of different things that you can charge someone on legally, okay? There's a difference between a DUI, a manslaughter, a homicide, a hit and run. These are all different things, and they all have different definitions. Then you start going, okay, well, what's the quality? Are they guilty or innocent? That's the question in a courtroom. Guilty or innocent, if it's a criminal case. Civil case, not so much. Policy then is what's the punishment, which is what you guys were getting. If the guy was drunk and he ran a red light and hit somebody on the street, do you think his punishment is going to be different than if he was wide awake, the lights were on, and the guy jumped in front of the street at the last second? The punishments are going to be different. But all of it depends on the facts, the definition, and whether he's guilty or innocent. Okay? You guys follow along? I think it's fairly simple.
Yeah.
Cool? Okay, so how does this matter when it comes to the debate? Okay? I just changed the page because I felt like it. I don't really know. You guys can take a look at this when you get a chance. It's just like a thematic thing, okay? Another way to think about this, let me take a step back. You guys can ask these 4 questions are not just if you're a lawyer or if you're debating or anything like that. There's 3 questions you can ask in everyday life that are, in a way, these circles. What do you mean? How did you get to that conclusion? And have you considered an alternative? X. Have you considered X or Y or Z?
Repeat
So
it again.
First question is, what do you mean? I told you, oh man, he's a terrible cook. Man, she's ugly. Well, what do you mean by that? So where are we in the circle when I ask that question?
Definition.
Definition, what do you mean? Somebody goes and claims Trump's a dictator or a tyrant or, okay, the next question should follow is, what do you mean by that? Yeah.
Would it be any different if you asked, why do you think that?
That's a broader question. Why do you think that? They can take it anyway. It's getting there. It's getting there.
So-
It's kind of like, what do you mean is a little bit more specific than, why do you think that?
I think
But it's very similar.
That could be classified more as judgment, because it's asking why do you think that?
So
Yeah,
what's,
why do you
what's
think
your
that's
judgment?
good or bad? So you're getting to the point of there's a different way to ask these questions based upon the scenario but we're trying to get to the heart of the matter, to different things. So what do you mean? So give me an instance of where do you think that's an appropriate question, or where do you see that? Tomorrow you get to school, you start interacting with your teachers or fellow students. He thinks about being like a, Let's go into things like okay, government. How many of you guys are in a government or history class? I guess all of you guys might be. What are you studying right now? World history. Mao. Okay, what about Mao?
I opened up again.
Did you guys go through his 1,000 Flowers or 100 Flowers
We
campaign
just-
where he
Oh,
slaughtered the
yeah.
intelligentsia? Mao is traditionally known as a dictator.
What do you mean?
What do you mean by dictator? Exactly.
God.
What's the difference between a dictator and a tyrant? Is there a difference? Or an authoritarian? Or a totalitarian? I used 4 different words that probably mean all the same thing, or they all mean something similar, but they all shed a different kind of light on something. Okay, let's go into something that's not as academic. I don't know. Any of you guys play sports or something? Pick a sport. Or orchestra. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Orchestra. You're a musician?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's your favorite musician or artist?
Someone that isn't modern. I'm fine.
Langland. Okay, I don't know.
He's kind of
Huh?
Pianist.
He's a pianist.
Yeah.
Pianist.
pianist.
Cool. You tell me he's the best pianist alive.
Best pianist
Ever.
alive.
Ever. In the world.
Possible.
Okay, what do you mean by the best?
He's skilled.
Okay, skilled. What does skilled mean?
Well, he's talented because he can play difficult songs that no other artist can play.
Okay, what makes the songs difficult? What do you mean by difficult?
They're difficult because they're hard to.
You just
get
use
at the
hard to
right
define
beat.
difficult and difficult to define hard. I need a little bit better than that. What makes the songs difficult? Does he have to move his hands really fast? Is it technically
The notes are really close in together, and it's difficult to get the beat correctly.
Okay, so I know very little about music. So I wouldn't appreciate what difficult means as somebody who knows more about music. See where I'm getting to on this? Okay, let's take I know basketball. I play basketball. People argue all the time. Michael Jordan is the best player of all time. Okay, then you go, well, what do you mean by the best? Oh, did he score the most? Did he get the most assists? Did he win the most champions? Do you see how in sports the discussion is all on this? And a lot of it is right here. That's where it starts. LeBron's an idiot. Kevin Durant is a traitor. Well, what do you mean by traitor? Seriously. And then you start going down that rabbit hole. You following? So what do you mean? You can ask that at any time, any place, anywhere, and that's what you can get to.
It's 15 minutes.
It's all right. We'll make this nice and easy. Hey, are you Mace's?
Yes, sir.
Oh, cool. You're the one who has the beat a day?
I'll be today, yes, sir.
Cool. So I'm just basically, here's the quick and dirty. Anytime, any place, anywhere, you want to have any kind of a productive discussion, move past the social script. Hey, how are you? I'm good. How are you? Or hey, Trump is an idiot. Or you want to actually get to a really good discussion. First question you ask is, what do you mean? All right? Second question you ask, how did you come to that conclusion? Or what makes you say that? What's your evidence for something like that? So somebody makes some kind of a wildish claim here. Something.
Russia's better than America.
Okay, good one. Good one. Okay, so what do you mean by better?
They have
It's okay, make it up, I don't care.
power over American voters.
Okay, in what way?
Um,
What do you mean by power?
they were able to choose who was the president.
Okay. And then, what makes you say that? What's your evidence for something like that?
I read it on the internet.
Okay, what source? What source? Who wrote it?
WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks. Do you know who funds WikiLeaks? Do you know who's behind WikiLeaks? How can you trust WikiLeaks?
Is that a loaded question?
Huh?
Is that a loaded question?
Yes, it is a loaded
Like they're
question.
opposing me for some reason.
Well, no. That's okay. There you go. Exactly what I wanted to get to. Asking questions is not a bad thing. I know our parents, like we grow up, our parents say, don't question me. Don't give me attitude. Like, don't, because why? But why? But why? All those questions. This is different grounds here. Questions are good. As long as they're not leading questions or condescending questions. Like, why are you an idiot? Like that's a slap in the face. That's not a question. That's a statement that's
Just like,
dressed up with some really bad makeup. Okay? So questions are good. Questions help us uncover. They help us dig up what's underneath. So what, so you asked me, why is it a leading question? I asked him, well, why do you trust WikiLeaks? Well, because he used it as a source. So my presumption is he trusts it if he's going to use it as a source. I don't ask him, what's your source? WikiLeaks. Do you trust WikiLeaks? Like that doesn't make sense in this kind of a discussion because he's already presented it as a trustworthy source. So do you see how I said leading questions are bad, but then there's also not bad leading questions? Because the presumption is safe. Okay, when I use the word presumption, do y'all understand what I'm saying? Because I didn't understand that until I was in college. Presuming is just you assume, you're making an assumption. The question is that assumption a fair and a safe assumption to make? So when I ask you, why'd you beat that dog? I'm assuming you beat the dog. That might not be a fair assumption. I don't have the evidence. I don't know what happened. Maybe the dog just, he accidentally hit the dog. You see where that leading question is dangerous. But the other one, we go down the Russia road. They went and hacked political systems. Okay, what's your source? And you go down that road. Cool. Then the last one is, have you considered? So here's another rule. It's better to ask questions and go and put the burden on somebody else. Why? Why do you want to do that? Does anybody like being on the spot 24/7? No. Here's the other thing. If you make somebody else defend their views, you're going to do several things. One, you're going to realize where there's holes in their logic or their reasoning. Two, you're going to figure out if you guys are talking past each other or with each other when you're asking questions. And then the third one is it's just much safer. It's a safer game to play than me making an accusation saying, you're stupid, you don't know what you're talking about. You're an idiot. Going down that road. That's not a grounds for productive discussion. Cool? Any questions? How are we doing on time?
You got about 20 minutes yet.
Okay.
25 minutes. So let's go back to your stasis.
Sure.
So you want to get people, you want to get to the, instead of getting at that quality question, that judgment question, you want to get down to the definition, because once you agree upon a definition, what sexual harassment is, or what good is, because I think the kids should go around tomorrow, the kids here, and ask people how their day is, and get them off that basic answer, and get them down to the facts, because people don't want that conversation.
They don't.
Politicians don't want that conversation.
Correct.
But you have to get them to a stasis that everyone's agreeing on. And it's the responsibility of the people that are going through this method, the Socratic method, to get them to that definition so we all agree on the same terms.
Does that make sense?
Do
you guys agree? Okay, so let's put ourselves in the scenario that you're on the hot seat. Okay, you're interrogating, you're questioning a politician. Who's gonna run? Dory Fennenbach. I saw her at a funeral. God bless.
Not hers?
No, it wasn't hers. Actually, she wasn't at the funeral. She was at the Mercy dinner, campaigning. Anyways, get that off the record. Cut. Dory goes up, and let's ask her the question of, okay, what are your priorities as the next El Paso House of Representative, or House Rep? What are your priorities? She tells you, my priorities are to lower the tax rate, which is not true, she's a Democrat. I want to have equal, fair opportunity for anybody, regardless of gender, race, kind, whatever, species, and I want to keep Texas blue, or I want to make Texas blue. Those are her priorities. Okay? Somebody take the next stab of what do you do? Where do you go from there?
How are you gonna do that? Like,
What
are
do
you,
you-
are you,
What's the assumption?
What do you mean? by
What's the assumption in that question? How are you going to do that?
that she's going to do that?
Okay? Is that a fair assumption?
No.
It's
No.
not. It's not a fair assumption. Okay, what do you think?
I think that that's kind of opposing because you're questioning how she's gonna do it, not if, like, you're not trusting if she's going to do it for sure. You're asking.
I gave you 3 priorities, A, B, and C. These are my priorities of when I run or when I become house rep. Put yourselves in the position of you're the voice for the constituents. You're the voice for the people voting. What do the people voting want to know? So let's just say I'm gonna lower the tax rate. Let's just say that's her position. That's her priority. I'm gonna help do everything I can to lower the tax rate. Okay, where do you go?
Why is that your priority?
Do you think that the audience cares why that's a priority of yours?
No.
Is that going to help you make a better vote?
No.
Okay.
What do you mean? Like, they want the specifics by how much? Things
Yes.
like that.
So exactly. That's a great word. Specific. I want to get more specific. So when she says, "Okay, I want to lower the tax rate," what's the first question I said? You can use anytime, any place, anywhere. What do you mean? What do you mean by lower the tax rate? Does that mean 10%? Does that mean 15%? What kind of tax rate? Are we talking property taxes? Are we talking income taxes? What kind of taxes are we talking about? So yes, you want to be more specific. Okay? I say, yeah, I want to lower the property tax rate because in El Paso they're the highest property taxes in the state of Texas. She can't do that. But anyways, let's just say she says that. Where do you go from there?
So you're saying after you figure out what she means by that, like.
Yeah, so she says lowering the tax rate means I want to decrease property taxes by 10%.
So would you ask that question that she said?
How are you gonna do it? No, I have to pass a bill and get a majority. That's a procedural question.
Okay.
That's not helpful.
Okay.
It's not a helpful question. Yes,
Can you say, have you considered, phone calls?
not yet,
No?
not yet. Why? Because why is that not the position yet?
I don't know.
It's a procedural thing. When you talk about obstacles, it's a mechanics. It's you got your grade and your professor didn't get the grade. Really the only way to solve it is he's got to go to the system and change it. How does she lower the tax rate? She gets whatever, a bill to pass the House, then to pass the Senate, and the president's got to sign on it. That's not helpful for the audience.
Why do you say that? Would be the question you would ask her
About what?
about the taxes. And
In what way? Like I don't understand. Be more specific.
why do you say you want to lower the taxes or the?
By 10% or why the property taxes. Yeah, you get more specific. That's what happens. You drill down. That's another analogy. Drill down. Get as specific as you can. Cool? Taxes are boring. Let's go to something that's a little bit more exciting. So here's the thing, guys. This is a shortcut. Like really, at any time, any place. My suggestion is you just go, where am I on my answer? Okay, so let's just say I tell you my priority is we need to somebody make up a priority. What's a priority for Dory when she becomes house rep?
Improve education.
Okay, I want to improve education. That's a priority. Okay? Where are we?
What do you mean by or the?
Yeah, where are we in this circle? When I say my priority is I'm going to improve education.
Judgment quality.
So you're like here, pretty much. And like it's like blurring here. It really doesn't matter because it's really what it is where are we trying to get to? I guess maybe let me take a step back. What's helpful for the audience? is it helpful for the audience to know what the facts are, like how they're coming to the decision? Is it important for the audience to know what they mean by improving the education? Is it important for the audience to know whether they think that's a good thing or a bad thing, they being the candidate? Is it important for the audience to know what kind of policies, what are they going to do to actually improve the education? What do you think's helpful for the audience? Or maybe let's go with what's least helpful for the audience.
The facts, all the procedures and everything that needs to get done is the least important.
Definition.
The quality.
Yeah, all of them.
No, because they don't.
All four, they're all irrelevant. They're just, how do you know if a politician's lying? They're moving their lips. Okay.
Oh my God.
Yes, quality. Like, I don't care if Dory thinks it's a good thing or not to improve education. I don't care. The thing I care about is, okay, so let's go. How do I frame a question around facts? I tell you I'm going to improve education. Give me a question that's going to get me here.
How did you come to the conclusion that education needs to be improved?
Okay? Yes, much tighter. There's an easier question than that.
What is wrong with education?
Yeah, what needs to be improved? Or what makes you say that there needs to be an
Why does it
improvement?
need to be improved?
Not
Not
why.
why?
Not why.
Okay.
It's what needs improving.
So that's
Tell
getting
me.
into specifics.
Yes, what needs improving? What part of the education system are we talking about? Are we talking about elementary schools? Are we talking about public schools? Are we talking about college? Are we talking about charter schools? Are we talking about vocational schools? What kind of education? What data are you using? What's your evidence that the education system is not where it needs to be? Or where you want it to get to? Does that make sense? Give me a question that gets me here. To definition.
What do you mean by improve?
What is it?
What do you mean by improve?
Yeah, or what'll be, yeah. What do you mean by improve? Or what's going to be improved? And then give me a question around policy. So let's just say, let me give you a scenario. I want to help the public school system in El Paso get more federal funding to improve programs for literacy and to help a lot of our immigrant population. Okay? That's how I'm going to improve it. I'm going to get more federal funding to put into the system to help these programs, to get all the kids that are going back and forth to get better. Because the data that shows to me is all the people that are actually born here and live here don't have a problem. It's the people that are coming from across the border. Let's just say that's my argument. Then give me a question that deals with policy.
How do you plan on getting that funding?
No, that's a procedural question. Let me take a step back, not funding. I'm going to improve it by, gosh, I wish there was something that. Question is, how are you going to improve it? How are you going to improve public schools and kids coming across the border? It's all good. You can get it, dude. It's not an issue.
No, yeah.
Okay? So far, okay, so explain to me what y'all have learned or understood thus far. That way I can make sure I understand where you guys are coming from. You're the moderator. You're the interrogator. What's your job? What's your responsibility?
To keep and to have an honest conversation.
Okay. Yes. And
Hold the candidate accountable?
To ask the right questions.
that's it. To ask the right questions. Who are you representing as the moderator or the interrogator? The constituents, the people voting. That's who you represent. Okay? Your goal is to ask the right questions. How do you do that? How do you ask the right questions?
You avoid assumptions.
You don't push it.
It's
In,
to an extent. Huh?
you don't push it in terms of keep it neutral, like keep the questions neutral.
Yeah, so y'all are kind of on the same page. Is asking good questions means asking neutral questions and not leading questions that have false assumptions. Okay, but a little bit broader than that. How do you ask good questions?
Figure out what is the most useful information for the other.
Mm-hmm. And how do you do that?
It's keeping.
So this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. Whoever's involved is going to do a lot of research. A lot of research. A week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks prior to know everything that the House rep does. The position. Because you want to know what they actually do. I'll give you an example. Last year we had a debate with the mayor. And one mayoral candidate said that he was going to, what did he say? He was going to lower the tax rate. That's what his position was. He had a cowboy hat. He had a Harvard law degree or something like that. And he said he was going to lower the federal tax rate. Does that raise any radar? Does that flag anything for you guys? Do you guys know anything about the El Paso mayor? Do you think the mayor has any power to lower the federal tax rate? No. And the person who was debating him, the moderator, called him out on it and said, Jotham basically said, the things you say you're going to do sound like a House rep, not a mayor. So he called him out. He was the voice of the people right there saying, I'm sorry, you can't do that.
It was good. You smiled.
It was awesome.
That sounds amazing.
We were standing
right next to each other. I was like, you gotta press the guy. We studied this forever to figure out what can the mayor actually do. Like, let me give you an example. You're an employee at a bank, and I tell you, hey, I need you to wire funds to an NGO in Nigeria. And you're like, I can't do that. That's not something I can do. That's out of my position. That's out of my power. So the first thing that's going to happen with whoever's involved is you're going to do a lot of research. That's how you ask really good questions. You know your stuff. How do you also ask really good questions?
Have a goal in mind, that you know what you want them to say.
Yes, you know what to expect. You know where you want to go with it.
But wouldn't that be considered a leading question?
No, and I'm going to tell you what the distinction is. Last year, one of the faults of the moderators was I told them, I was coaching them saying, okay, be specific. Ask them to get as specific as possible. Specific, specific, specific. We need facts, we need facts, we need facts. We need evidence, we need evidence, we need evidence. That's what I told them, right? So what happens? One candidate gets drilled for 7 minutes on something that doesn't matter. That's what ended up happening was the rule was there, hey, let's get to here. But it was on something that wasn't important. Like at the end of the day, the people don't care about that thing. So they, good execution and bad execution. So yeah, you want to know where you want to head. And that's important to also have really good judgment to know what questions to ask. You might want to say, okay, I asked them for their 3 priorities. I have 7 minutes to ask them questions. I don't want to spend 8 minutes or 5 minutes on one priority. I need to know, okay, I know I can flesh this out, but I gotta move. I gotta move. And that was one of the mistakes that happened last year. Okay, so another good way to ask questions is do research. Another one is to know where you want to go, have a goal in mind, be prepared basically. What's another really good way to ask questions?
Well, I mean, you need to make sure you're like fully involved in the conversation, because if you're not conscious, not conscious, but you need to be active in the conversation. You can't.
What makes a good question? You brought it up. You said, okay, not a leading question with false presumptions. What also makes a good question? Okay, I gave you this scenario earlier. I don't know, should they text their parents? Or we good?
Probably in about 5 minutes.
5 minutes, okay. I gave you this scenario earlier. I brought it up. The point of a stasis is we're here. We're at point A. Okay? And we want to get to, I have an intention, I want to get to point B. Okay? Somebody just told me their day is good, and I want to get to what happened. Okay? I have an intention, I want to go there. So let's say you ask me, I tell you, yeah, hey, my day's good. You ask me, hey George, how are you? Oh, my day's good. Okay, how was your day? You ask me, how was your day? And I start telling you, oh, tomorrow I have to go and mow the lawn. And I gotta go clean the house. What just happened?
You went off topic.
I didn't answer the
You didn't
question.
answer it.
So we're at point A. You want to get me to point B. Where did I go? Over here. I don't know where I went. MC squared, right here. That's where I went. Shoot. Have you guys ever seen a politician talk? Do you have any idea how difficult it is to keep them on topic? You ask them about tax rates, and they're going to tell you about inequality. Like you're like, no, that's not what I asked you. That's not the question.
How do you keep them there? How do you keep them going?
Exactly.
You keep on topic.
Exactly. So
Keep everyone on the same page.
exactly.
Okay.
So how do you ask a good question is you make sure you're at this stasis and you hammer it and you don't move until that stasis has been answered. And that happened last year too. We had politicians who don't want to get grilled.
So
they don't want to talk about it.
So don't let them go off on tangents.
Exactly. So imagine it as like you're riding a horse. You got the reins. Keep the reins. You want to know where you want to take it. Don't let the horse just buck wild. That's what happens. Politicians are very good at a thing called deception. Hey, look over here, and I just did this. There was a really good scenario. It was I think Obama, when he was President Obama. Somebody asked him about income, like the wage gap or something. Like they were saying, oh, what are you gonna do? Do you think this is a problem that men are making more money than women, or something, or like what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do so that men and women can make the same amount of money? And then he said, oh, we need to fight for equality. He gave the right answer to the wrong question. Or he gave the wrong answer to the right question. Either way, it went this way. The question was on this, and he answered this. Just turn on the TV for 5 minutes and you'll see it. So exactly, how do you ask a really good question? You make sure you stay on the stasis. And if the politician or whoever you're speaking to wants to get off the stasis, you make it known. You put them on the spot. That's what happened last year as well.
So you stop them as many times as it takes for them to get to.
That's a judgment call. It's a judgment call, and that's y'all will be preparing as you coming up. But at the end of the day, what's the first question I ask is who do you represent? The people. So your job is not I'm going to fight, or there's a win-lose game between me and you, politician. It's okay. I think we understand what kind of person you are and what your thinking is. You don't want to answer the question. You look very deceptive. I'm glad we need to make this known.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. So the moderator, that one person that can say, can you give us some clarity?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we kind of give them the idea, okay, stay on topic, but you're not giving them more.
Exactly. And there's ways to frame a question so that it doesn't seem like it's rude or presumptive or whatever. Okay? I think one of the things we just discussed is how do you ask a good question is you stay on the stasis.
Yeah.
One of the things politicians do is they like to go off topic or answer questions that you didn't ask.
Another thing that you gotta remember, you want to get people off their qualitative judgment. You want to get them off their evaluation. You want to get them to what they need to know. And God, I hate to tell you this because you guys are going to start doing, the seniors in this class right now are going to start doing it to me. All right, and I'm gonna start doing this to you. What do you mean by that?
Can you be
You
more
wanna
specific?
frustrate a teacher?
Just do that.
Just ask them, what do you mean by that?
That's like asking a parent why to.
Why you say that? But you're just asking. You're trying to get them because a lot of your teacher statements are judgment statements. Yes, do not. But you want to get them down to the definition. You want to get them down to the facts. That's what we want to get you down in your class. When you guys write essays for your class, you want to get to the facts. The teachers don't want to hear your judgment. They want to know why you know that judgment.
Actually, that's a really good point you just brought up. How are you taught to write an essay in high school? No. Okay,
No.
let's go. What's the structure? What's the structure of a paragraph?
You have your like topic
You have a
sentence,
topic sentence, okay?
and then you have your like supporting evidence,
Okay.
and then you have
Something to write.
like so,
Huh? And then?
well, your supporting evidence is
IB paid off, dude.
You guys know the formula, right? And then what else?
right.
And then you have some sort of tie-in, I guess, let's just say.
Tie-in, yeah.
The thesis or the topic.
Or we have like a quote, depending on the type of essay we're doing.
But what are quotes?
Like, just
It's
things.
evidence, supporting evidence.
Because you put in, that's why you put in the quote at the top, and then you like start analyzing it.
So here's this formula. This is a formula which seems very rigid. It's, in my opinion, terrible writing. But I had to do it. You guys have to do it. The sooner you learn it, the sooner you get to pass. But it's horrendous writing. Think about it this way. Your topic sentence is this. It's your quality. It's your judgment. Mao Zedong is a terrible man. Give me supporting evidence. There's some facts. Your analysis. You're going to come back up to here and here. And then you tie it in. That's just a little bow on it all. I mean, you're operating in these spheres, but you have a formula. A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. You following?
Mm-hmm.
That's terrible. It's horrendous. And I'm going to tell you why. It's, do you guys know, maybe, I mean, I'm trying to give you guys different images and different terms because I don't know how you learn. Any of y'all know what deductive reasoning is? What's deductive reasoning? You haven't spoken.
I haven't spoken.
Yeah, what's deductive?
Deductive is like whenever you're using things that you already know to come to a conclusion.
Yeah. Another way of saying it is you're going from general to specific. So, what's the opposite of deductive? Inductive. And what are you doing when you're going inductive? You're going specific to general. So think about it this way. Specific to general, general to specific. Most of our everyday lives are going this direction. Because it takes a lot of brain power to do this and to process that. How do you know you trust your source? How do you know that that source did their data correctly? How do you know, how did they do their surveys? Where did they get their information from? Who conducted it? How long? That's a lot of brain power. We don't like that. We don't. Hey, what teacher should I take? Oh, take him because he's cool. Okay, that's right there. He's a nice guy. All right, there you go. He grades really easily. There, you're right there. We don't like to operate here because it takes a lot of brain power. And it's really hard. It annoys people. And it takes time. This is shortcuts. Somebody made a mention of that. This is the stereotypes. This is like where a lot of this, and not in a negative way. Stereotypes are just a generalization about something. This is where they help us, is right there. I know that if I deal with an athlete, most likely this will happen. So that way, every single person that I meet, if I just get some quick and dirty categories of them, oh, the guy's a college grad, used to play basketball, was an IB student, like you guys can already start making inferences about me this direction. You can predict how I'm going to behave. Make sense? Yeah, y'all, if you need to leave, go ahead. I don't want to keep you guys.
Start
You need to
texting.
text
Start-
your parents
text
or
your
whatever.
parents now. If they're already here, that's great. Text them.
I think the thing for tomorrow, really, like, this is how you hammer it home. Just ask those 3 questions in your head. What do you mean? How did you come to that conclusion? And have you considered?
Start using them, guys. You got to start using them. Don't use them on your parents,
See-
and probably don't use them on your teachers.
Unless it's Mr.
Can we use,
Unless it's necessary.
can we use them on you?
Sure. But you got to start using them. And I think the best thing to start using them on is when people say, if you ask them how their day is and they say good, push it and see what they react. They're going to be like politicians. They're going to be hesitant to go down into the depths of the facts.
Yeah. It's a social script.
It's a lot more fun when they say bad.
Yes. Tell me how many people you've met that told you they've had a bad day. I probably
told them
found like
that.
2 people.
But you're just trying to switch it up on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing it for a stun factor.
Yeah.
But if you start doing that to people you ask questions, because most of the questions like that are just back and forth. When people come for debates, they don't want to go deep.
They don't.
They don't want to go deep. And you can take them as deep as you want. And guys, we're gonna have to do this again. We're gonna have to keep coming back here and do this if you want it. I think the Dory Fenenbach, Veronica Escobar is going to, you're gonna have to keep that under control. And that's gonna be tough. That is gonna be the toughest thing because they got their own little agenda that they wanna go to. You gotta get them to what the public wants to hear. The public doesn't care if she's Hispanic. Veronica Escobar. They don't. They wanna know how they're gonna help me as a citizen.
Yeah. So, I'll give you all some more academic terms, just to bore you some more. No, you're not taking notes on this stuff. Let's think about it this way. So, this is a classic example. Martin Luther King, I don't know how many of you guys know, he had an adulterous relationship, okay? So some people try to discredit his civil rights movements, his preaching. He was a preacher too, he was a pastor, by saying, "Oh, the guy's a bad man." Do any of you guys know what kind of? It's called a fallacy. What's the problem with that kind of logic?
Is she out here?
He cheats on his
No,
wife.
get her back here.
Why?
Because it's dark out. And there's weirdos. Guys, you gotta have people.
Building.
Oh, it's not good. Go.
I feel like the
Tell-
only weirdo out there is me.
Yeah.
Guys, if we have
Just
meetings
be
like
safe.
this, have your parents pick you up here. Don't be walking across campus. What?
Is that bad?
What?
No, you just never know. You need to be safe. Either you're with a group of people, you do it in a well-lit area, or you just have your parents pick you up here.
Yeah, back here's the best.
I'm riding my bike.
You riding your bike?
My dad, can you do it?
I'm my bike.
Yeah, your bike.
It's okay.
I'm sure.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
See you.
Next time, Mom, I'll tell her.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell her. I will tell her. Love you.
See you.
Bye.
What was it?
Look, I think this is a really cool opportunity for you guys. I wish that I could have done it when I was in your spot. Think about it this way. The go-to debate is the weed debate. For every person who runs in El Paso and any respectable citizen or news source, they love this. Can you think of why? I mean, let's think about it for a second. Have you seen anybody else do this? Nobody. Nobody. This is innovative. This is new. It's not new. This is done before, as you can see. But it's new in our society. It's fresh. Why? Because did any of you guys watch the presidential debates, even the televised ones? I mean, would you consider them debates? Did they cross-examine each other? Did they poke each other's lines of thinking? What happened? I mean, really, what happened?
The candidates kind of took over the moderator.
They took over the moderator. They what?
They just attack each other.
They attacked each other. Character attacks. It was identity politics at its finest. You're more crooked than I am. That was the whole campaign, is I'm supposed to make you look like a worse person than I am. That has nothing to do with policy. That has nothing to do with the law that's going to go into effect, or the laws or the policies that are going to affect me as a citizen. I think this is refreshing. I think it's difficult, so it's not for everybody. You need to be very confident and very well prepared. But this is where the call to action is for people that really want to make a change in their society, really in their community too, at a more specific level. And then you can take this with you wherever you go. You actually learn how to write a better essay and ask better questions if you just learn this formula. Cool?
Good job, guys. Good job.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
I love you.
When can we do this again for you guys? Is Wednesday a good night? Thursday a good night? Tuesday a good night?
Not Tuesdays.
Not Tuesdays? Tuesday's bad night. Any day really bad besides Tuesday. Is Wednesday good?
Friday's a bad day for me.
Not
I
this
think
Monday.
Wednesday's good.
All right, Wednesday's good. Is it possible is next week horrible? Oh, next week's our
Next
forum.
week is not.
Yeah.
Oh,
Next week we have a forum. You're welcome to come to a forum. You will come to it, won't you?
Send me an invitation.
6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. Yeah. They're hosting a forum and not a debate, so we can't go by the same rules as we go by the debate.
Different rules.
Different rules, different questions.
An appointment, not an election.
This is an appointment, not an election. She's pretty hot on that. She's pretty adamant about that. Guys, thanks for coming.